How's THG going to do a draft video? We haven't seen a draft video yet. When are we going to see a draft video? All right, let's take a look at the draft. So, just a very basic outlier. Because last year I did videos where I looked at, goaltending prospects in the draft, and I tried to get all cutesy and look at, diamonds in the rough. And maybe 5-6 years from now, those will be fun videos to look back on. But in general, they would get lost in the the just regular day-to-day videos, not garnering a lot of attention, discussion, and just they're kind of there. So yeah, 5 years from now it'll be fun to look back on that. But I want to look at the 2020 draft, and I want to start with looking at, okay, hockeyprospect.com last year got Seider right. Moritz Seider, they believed was going to move up, and when Detroit drafted him, they agreed. Brad, the contact at hockeyprospect.com, had been talking him up a lot all year, and when he moved up, it wasn't a huge surprise to them. So I want to look at where they have the top 10 right now according to their website. And again, through hockeyprospect.com, I have a paid membership. I'm careful about what I'm sharing because I'm not sure what information, even with the paid membership, I have access to all of this information on the prospects, and I know they don't necessarily want that all given out. So I'm going to give you guys the top 10 according to their site, which is available to everybody. Alexei Lafreniere at 1. At 2, Quentin Byfield. At 3, Yaroslav Askarov, goaltender. Number 4, Lucas Raymond, or Raymond, I should say. Tim Stutzel at 5. Cole Perfetti. And then Dylan Holloway, Jamie Drysdale, Dawson Mercer, and Noel Gunler rounds out your top 10. So that's the top 10. I want to look at Askarov. It's a goaltender rated at number 3. Now, what's interesting is he's rated 13th by Future Considerations, number 10 by McKean's Hockey, and number 10 by Elite Prospects in their most recent lists. Their lists, I believe, though, are longer time ago than the one I'm reporting on here. So it's quite possible that Askarov has seen his stock rise. And it's interesting because he's a goaltender, and goaltenders normally don't get drafted as high as number 3. So I thought, all right, so how does this work? Because he's a goaltender, and he's really highly thought of. And there aren't very many teams that are near the bottom of the rankings right now where fans are going, I really hope we draft a goalie with a really high draft pick. You may think your team needs a goaltender, but if they draft a goalie top 3, are you going to be happy? Odds are probably not. So does he get drafted at 3? Yeah, teams probably get cold feet. So I thought, all right, we'll take a look at Askarov and who he is. He's 6'3", 176 pounds. Projectable NHL size. And the comparables that are made on hockeyprospect.com, they talk about how he's maybe a little bit behind Saros, where Saros was at that age in terms of some of the physical sides of things, but he's bigger than Saros, so that makes up for it. And they're very happy about his poise and compete and all that other wonderful stuff. Everything you're looking for in a goaltender, he projects to have. He was the 4th under 18 goaltender to ever start a KHL game. He did that this year. They won the game 4-2, and it was felt that while one of the 2 goals may not have been great, you know what? He was great in the second and third in that game, and he looked good. And that's in the KHL where he's playing against men, something you're not going to have a chance to see with the CHL guy who hasn't been drafted yet. So he looks pretty good. And according to the rankings, everybody's got him in the first round. They're saying as well that he may be the most exciting prospect for a goaltender that they've seen in a decade. At least one of the most exciting, and he's reminiscent of Vasilevsky in terms of hype. Now, Vasilevsky did not go top 3. Went in the first round to Tampa. Very astute pick, and goaltenders are usually seen as steals in the draft when they make it. But there are many instances where goaltenders get drafted in the first round, and they don't. I'd be interested actually to look over the numbers and see if first-round goaltenders, how many of them actually live up to the hype and how many of them don't. So, because it's dicey, which is part of the reason why goaltenders don't get drafted so early. Now, this year, he has played 16 games in the tier right below the KHL. He has a .922 save percentage in those games. That's pretty good. He played in the Helenka Gretzky Cup, played 4 games, had a .960 save percentage in the 4 games he played there. So overall, his numbers are good. Now, technically, he's a silver medalist at the World Junior Championships. He was stuck behind 2 older goaltenders, and so he didn't get any appearances. But he did have that experience of being with the team. and all of that other wonderful stuff. And I would be very surprised if he doesn't start for them next year. Both goaltenders who played for the Russian junior team this year, born in the year 2000, so next year they'll be moved on from, and I would think it'll be his net at the World Juniors next year. Depends where he gets drafted. So what did I do? I simmed the lottery, because of course I did. I'm not just going to put up, okay, here's your top 10 draft picks. Sim the lottery. And the sim told me the New Jersey Devils win the lottery in 2020. Oh boy. If New Jersey wins the draft lottery and they get Lafreniere, and you got to think they draft Lafreniere, right? Anaheim, Byfield to Anaheim? Yeah, Anaheim was second in the draft lottery. And then Ottawa was third. And that's their draft pick that was third. Ottawa's where it gets interesting. They could use a blue chip goaltender like this. Do they draft him at 3? I'm thinking no. I'm thinking Lucas Raymond goes at 3. Now at 4, you've got Detroit. That's Steve Yzerman. Yzerman knows a thing or two about drafting young goaltenders. I would not be entirely surprised if Detroit misses out on Lafreniere and Byfield if he turned around and picked up Askarov. It is a spot in the Detroit organization that would be immediately a strength. And while Jimmy Howard has been a soldier for them for a very long time, his career is winding down. Bernier's had some good points, some bad points along the way this season. Not projecting as their starter for a long time to come. If they draft at 4 and they draft Askarov, are we really going to be all that surprised? My answer would be no. Now, if Detroit ends up going in another direction, and this is a stacked draft, so really, in all honesty, outside of the top 2, it's total guesswork right now because there are so many projected to be good players. LA could find themselves in the position to draft a goaltender. Now, is that likely? No. You've got Cal Peterson, who's the number 3 in the organization right now, but behind Campbell and behind Quick. And I can't see a situation where LA would necessarily draft a goaltender, although with his potential, they might be tempted. And then at 6, there's Ottawa again with San Jose's draft pick. If Askarov drops as far as 6th, he won't get past 6. I can't see it. If Ottawa drafts at 3 and they draft one of the star forwards in this draft, defense doesn't show up until 8 with Jamie Drysdale. Sorry. Now, could Ottawa draft a defenseman at 6? Yes. But if Askarov was there at 6, did they let him go? If Ottawa can come out of this draft in 2020 with a star forward and their starting goaltender for the next 15 years, and I know they've got Gustafsson in the minors, Hogberg looks okay, we are talking about a star goaltender. And this is where GMs have to weigh that. They have to say, well, our goaltending in the future looks good. This could make it great. I can't see him escaping the top 10. I can't see if he dropped as far as 8th, does Chicago bypass him? Could Montreal really at 7? Would they actually think about it? Who's Price's replacement? Primo? Right, so they probably pass on him if he's there at 7. What about Buffalo at 9? They've got a pretty good prospect down there too, but do they pass on him? And then you have the Rangers right now are at number 10 in the draft lottery. So it's interesting. Do you draft a goaltender if you have a top prospect? Looking at his overall numbers, he's ranked at 10 by McKean's and by Elite Prospects. He has moved up for hockeyprospect.com, and the guys who are moving up, they usually have a reason. They're normally very astute in this kind of thing. And again, this is a draft that is kind of stacked. There are people who love Stetzel. They love Perfetti, Holloway. I've heard people up talking Gunler as well. So this is going to be quite the divisive draft. And where a goaltender goes in this draft could be huge. I am excited about this upcoming draft. I know this is the first video I've done on it. Again, because I wanted to make sure that I was talking about something that wasn't quite the same as what I did last year, where I had the whole bios and all the information. But again, it's Lafreniere's draft. He's going to go at 1. Act surprised when he does. And if New Jersey drafts Lafreniere and you add him to Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier, yeah, New Jersey fans just went, okay, that's a pretty good idea. I like this. I don't know if I've told you, Hockey Guy, but I like your channel today. And Anaheim fans being at 2. And of course, the upset in this would be Detroit dropping to 4 and LA dropping to 5, where these teams desperately need help up front. But again, the good news for them is this looks like a stacked draft. But does Detroit think outside the box again and pick up a goaltender? Let me know where you guys think that this highly thought of Russian goaltender could go in the draft, and whether or not he might just drop out of the top 10 altogether. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.